Yeah, that's a good intro. Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
So tonight, we're just kicking it. We're going to talk about whatever. A little Game of Thrones. They can't fool us with that different title. We know what this is.
Yeah. Throne of Dragons.
Throne of Dragons.
House of Games.
House of Games. I like that a lot.
Both of which are cleaner than what we normally call it.
Right.
That's true. And a couple news stories I pulled up while sitting here before the stream, so it's that kind of stream. Just kicking it.
Professional.
But, yes.
Yeah.
We're anything but Wait.
No, I think you accidentally said it right.
Oh, no, I said the quiet part loud.
I said the quiet part loud. That's a title right there. Said the quiet part loud.
I pulled a George W. You don't say... What happened? I made a thing disappear. So we're real with it. How are you two doing tonight?
I'm good. Ish. Yeah, no.
I'm okay, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, usually we do like what we've been watching. I guess we could do that. What we've been watching. How have I not come up with little animated? I see an elusive Melanie in the wild.
Oops.
Oops. At least you weren't doing anything embarrassing.
Yeah. I was like 2 seconds away from it too.
Well, we really haven't been watching much other than we've been catching up on What We Do in the Shadows, because they are way farther into this season. Maybe the whole season's out. I don't know. I'm out of touch, I guess, or I'm out of touch. I'm behind on What We Do in the Shadows, because we watch an episode and I'm like, oh, that's probably it, and then there's like another one, and then another one.
Yeah, it's because it's on Hulu, and we don't usually do Hulu.
Right. We finally signed into Hulu, so it's good. It's good so far. It's a good show. I will say, for anybody that's been following that show, there was, I don't know, last season ended on a big cliffhanger, and like everybody left except for like one person. Everybody's gone. They went to do other things. And then this season starts, and it's like, oh, we're back. It's like it was summer vacation, and like we're picking back up at the next like school year type deal. It's like, they're all just back now. It's like, oh, that was a cliffhanger for nothing then, huh?
Yeah, and I swear that there was like rumors for a really long time that one of the cast members was leaving.
That's my fault, because I thought I kept saying it. I was like, who's leaving? So watching last season, thinking someone was leaving was like a real roller coaster, because it seemed like at any point any one of them could go, and then the cliffhanger was basically all but one of them went, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Not spoilers for last season, coming into this season, none of them left. But
well, one of them kind of left, but not really.
One of them is a child with their adult face on them now, and it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty weird effect. It is. It's definitely uncanny, and at times, like, it doesn't totally sell it, but most of the time it's close enough to like a solid effect. That's really weird. It makes it even more weird.
My favorite thing is that they refer to him like people did to Prince for a while, like, the artist formerly known as Prince, but they're like, the thing that crawled out of Colin Robinson.
Yeah, the thing that crawled out of the chest cavity of the corpse of Colin Robinson. Because the energy vampire died last season. But
Spoilers.
For a season ago. Listen, they're probably on season 7 now. I just don't even know. The new episodes are never going to end.
Why would they?
No.
They're vampires.
Right.
That's right. It is so good, even when it's like not like some episodes it's just firing on all cylinders. Even when it's not, it's still so good. It's so entertaining.
Like the whole episode might be crap, but there's at least one part that's so hilarious it makes that episode worth it.
Right. Right. Like we just watched one, and I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna tell you what the episode was, because that's boring. But it fell hard into like I was like, oh, this is just like real stereotypical lame sitcom trope situation. Like, oh, it's wacky. But then they push it so far that it goes like cartoony. It just goes unreal, and then it made it for me. It made it all work. I was like, okay, if they had to go through all that to get to this like ridiculous cartoony nonsense, I'm all for it. That was fine. Anyway, what about you, Jesse? You been watching anything other than Game of Dragons?
Game of Houses?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been watching She-Hulk. That's it. And so there was like one new episode, and so I watched that, and it's still pretty fun. It's very meta, and like at least once an episode, she turns to the camera and addresses something that's happening. Like in this third episode. So spoilers, her first like court case as She-Hulk is to defend the Abomination, Emil Blonsky, and it's Tim Roth. And I was like, whoa, all right. And there's some fun to be had there, like Bruce Hulk. Ruffalo Hulk. He's like, he even throws out like, he's like, that was so long ago. I was literally another person. It's like, that's pretty good.
It is pretty
like,
amusing.
That kind of stuff is super fun. Like they'll throw like nuggets that are true to the comics and true to the universe, just as like ridiculous fodder. Like there's this whole media buzz about the fact that She-Hulk is She-Hulk, you know? Mm-hmm. And so they're like throwing all these things like, I don't have a problem with there being female superheroes, but why don't they just come up with a new character? You know, that like they throw that
Right,
whole thing
right.
out. You're like, it's kind of a fun indictment poking the bear there. And then like they'll just throw stuff in there that sounds ridiculous, but it's also legit canon from the comics. Like there's a rumor that this happened in a mafia hit gone wrong. I was like, that's literally her original origin story.
Nice.
It's like, but they made it sound like a ridiculous rumor that would just happen. So,
By the way, hey, what's up, Paul? How's it going?
hey-o.
Paul says She-Hulk is pretty epic. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. Hearing you talk about it last couple weeks, I'm definitely more interested.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll have to sign into Disney.
Yeah, and I'm a
Plus.
woman. I should watch it.
It's like a rule, right? Aren't
right.
there
Marvel's-
rules?
Marvel's banking on that.
Yeah. And they have fun, like, after credit scenes in every episode.
Oh, nice.
And they're like kind of dumb, gimme, throwaway things, but they're all fun. Paul says he likes this origin story better than the comics. And yeah, I mean, like, it's fast. It's like, oh, this happens. And you, like, just don't think about it too hard. It's a TV show based on a comic book that was silly. So
is it, but, okay. Is it anybody like that with Banner DNA is the type of person that can get the gamma radiation and Hulk out? Or
they kind of allude to that in this version. Like in the comics, it's not necessarily that, because there's a whole bunch of gamma radiated creatures that aren't related to him. Like Rick Jones becomes
Rick Jones.
He becomes
I'm thinking
A-bomb.
of James. Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, not quite super freaky, but yeah, Yeah, so Rick Jones is the A-bomb at one point. Emo Blonsky, obviously, the Abomination is not related to Banner, but they do try to like tie it to genetics in this version of the origin, and it's like it's fine.
Cool.
I don't know how anybody could straight-faced name a character Emo Blonsky.
yeah, Stan Lee, man.
That's crazy. So what else? What else are we talking about?
Well, let's talk about the House of Flying Dragons,
Okay.
House of 1,000 Games, House of Tetanus Shots,
Yeah.
No kidding.
House of what's going on with that? They keep alluding to him having some weird infection, and that's definitely not. I'm sure that's definitely going to come back.
Well, I kept wondering, is that the thing that What's-His-Face gets where he goes crazy too? Like none of his, like he starts getting scales and he,
Right.
but I didn't know if that was related at all. I forget what that character's name was now. He was a cool character too. The one that likes the imp that liked Tyrion, that hung out with Tyrion, the merc.
That was
Yeah.
that was as a result of like there were these people in this area that had
Yeah, I
this like
remember.
scaly rock disease that he contracted.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so that's different than this, whatever
Yeah,
this
it's
is.
like. Are you talking about like with the crab people?
Oh,
Crab people.
that's just something else entirely. The crabs.
Okay.
They had
Oh
crabs.
yeah, right, crabs. Okay, I remember they were in there. Paul says he is so looking forward to Red Hulk after the Thunderbolts. I don't even know what's going on in Marvel.
Nope, me
Phase,
either.
whatever. Where's Loki? Come on, give me Loki season 2.
Yeah. Right.
But I enjoyed it. Jesse, you had said something in our group chat about how you were kind of uncertain about it, and you're more on board.
It was. I don't want to go like full Snyder cut on this thing and say that I thought it was gonna suck, but I was like, I didn't have like high hopes for this thing because like prequels, man, prequels are tough.
right.
There's
you know.
a doctor in it.
Yeah, oh, I know, and like you'd think that would be a great deal, but then I also saw Terminator Genesis,
Genesis.
Yeah.
and like this is far better than that. Like I went into this being very skeptical that they could recapture the magic of the original because we saw how the end of Game of Thrones went, and I think this is just based off of early books. I don't think this is based off of an actual book. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I
Like,
don't
is
know.
this just based off of like the backstory that was told inside of a book that was part of the Song of Ice and Fire?
I have no idea. I don't think I even know anybody who's read the series.
Which is kind of crazy, actually.
So
know,
I mean,
I know a lot
that
of
was
readers.
that was my skepticism was like, and my cynicism about it was like, okay, we saw how that went when they weren't using George R.R. Martin's actual stuff. So will
But I
this
think
be just as bad?
I also think we saw how it went when they weren't using George R.R. Martin's stuff, and we're tired of doing the show and trying to wrap it up as fast as possible.
Sure.
That decision, that was a poor decision on their behalf. I think after that, everyone, and probably including HBO, was just kind of curious to see how this show would, how it would turn out, but also like how it would be received. And apparently, it's been received extremely well. Like they are, it's. I remember Game of Thrones leading up towards the end when it was like kind of at its height. The stories about it being the most pirated show and whatever, blah blah blah.
Right.
And at that point, like HBO was like, well, it's whatever, that's not good. But now it's like, it's House of Dragons. It's the most pirated show. We don't condone it. We're doing we're taking steps against that. But yeah. Like they're congratulating themselves.
Yeah, look at our most pirated show.
It's an indication that like viewership is way up on it. So
Good luck, our flag means death. About actual pirates.
I didn't even think about that one. I know the next season is happening for sure, but If HBO starts, if diversity is on the chopping block,
yeah.
that one's definitely at risk.
Why would it be on the shopping block?
Diversity, because
This new merger and their glow up.
I guess Discovery. There's been talk that Discovery, they're not really all that supportive about the diversity in the programming.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They're Discovery, though. Discovery?
They're
That's
discovering.
They're discovering the same old, same old?
They're discovering they want.
They're discovering they want the status quo.
Yeah,
Well, that's poop.
that's what I hear. Paul, in fact, tuned me into that initially, but I've seen a couple other articles. I don't know how credible, but articles basically. I've seen a lot of reports about it.
Discovery should be the one place you should be able to go to see, like, free and not inhibited women's parts and giant lizards.
Free,
you know?
like 60s.
Yeah, like some
feminist
crazy
free.
stuff,
Right. And
like some
they're gonna be
Woodstock
against it.
footage.
Yeah,
Well,
Woodstock
okay, well, that
footage,
works. But I was thinking more like, people still living in the native ways.
where everything's hairy and saggy. And we're not
Yeah.
talking about dirty bits.
like old school National Geographic.
Yeah.
That's right.
That is, I mean, if your name is going to be Discover, do it right or get out of here.
The names of any of the names have meant nothing for a long time.
Which is so sad, really, yeah.
E-
But
e-
yeah,
even-
you're right.
Even the fact that it's just some company now that has that name, the cable channel names themselves haven't really meant anything for a long time. It's
When
like,
Animal Planet just shows monster truck shows, that's weird.
That is weird.
Is
Is
that
that true?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
But they
doubt
do
it.
weird shows now, kind of what's the one that does Storage Wars? Isn't that
Yeah.
the History Channel? What
Probably.
does that have to do with history?
history.
or
It's old stuff. In
Oh,
people's
yeah.
storage. It's part of history.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm
Well,
sorry.
what about the music channel playing everything except music?
Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like back in the day, A&E was arts and entertainment, and they'd play old stuff and when you're a kid, boring stuff, and then they got stuff like I want to say it was Cracker, which was an English show, but there was an American version. It was basically a detective show, and I think that did gangbusters, so to speak. Now I feel old, and then it slowly became basically a attack and execution channel. It was just nothing but detective and murder shows and stuff like that.
So
and
it's
then,
doing really well then.
Isn't
huh?
that where The Walking Dead ended up?
and then Breaking
Yeah.
Bad, Walking Dead. It's I
Right.
guess it's still
that
technically
A&E? I thought
art
that
and
was-
entertainment.
I
but
thought that was TMC.
TM's
Am I wrong?
Turner Classic
Classic
Movies
Movie,
is still.
No.
That's
I'm
one of the
thinking-
few that actually
movie
kind of
channel?
stuck to what it was about.
Am I wrong?
What? No,
I
it's
was
AMC.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
AM.
what it
Oh,
was.
you're right. Okay.
Right.
No, A&E probably turned into
Oh, they're the
Fabulous
aliens people, aren't they? Or is that still
are they?
Is that still history? I don't
I
don't even know.
none
Ancient
of it
Aliens
matters.
is either A&E or history.
That's the.
It's both.
That's the point.
both,
when
yeah.
either of those turned into just ancient aliens and dinosaur.
Hunting for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Appalachia.
I mean, he has to be, right? It's the only place we're scared to go.
Right?
Glad to see we retained our viewership through that. Paul should have loved that. Paul don't watch no more. He tunes in for a little bit. He's a busy man.
He's a busy
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to. I mean, the King. I don't know.
The king?
Elvis?
I feel like the King.
I know,
No,
that's
I'm jumping back to House
Oh,
House
okay.
of a Thousand Daggers.
Oh, yeah. Man, that throne somehow has more swords than when Game of
Yeah,
Thrones
it
came out. I
does.
was like, man, what happened there? Like,
My theory is at some point, one or maybe one too many people tripped and fell
say,
to their death on a
there's a
sword.
there's a drunken Baratheon just like,
And somebody's
Yeah.
like, "That's it. We gotta get these out. Clean those up. Get that out of there.
Yeah.
Keep the chair. That's fine. Get the other crap out of there. This just looks like a mess, and it does.
yeah.
They need some home and garden TV network.
And just anybody could just wander in there and just sit in that throne, like that throne is just unguarded half the time, and everybody's like, look at where I'm sitting.
Yeah, but most
Right.
of them are like, I don't have my shots. I don't know if I want to sit there. So,
Most of them probably have an iron deficiency, so there you go.
That's a good point. That's how they get their dose of iron.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, can I talk about, sorry, the female portion of it? So,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they went with, maybe the naming at least of, I don't know her name, the chick. As
Well, I was just gonna say, is her name Rhaenyra? Is that her
I
name?
don't know.
Daenerys Jr.
Yeah. Is that looks like Daenerys, like Rhaenyra?
It's like
Maybe, I don't know.
read Daenerys. We listen. We're gonna do it right this time. We swear. We swear.
But yeah, she's okay, but her power move should have been after she was made the heir or whatever, after she was named as heir, and she went into their like sitting room, instead of pouring them drinks like she normally did and then leaving when they started talking crap to her, I'd have been like, hey, I'm going to be the king someday, basically. I mean, I'm going to be in a seat of power. So I need to be here. I need to be able to make decisions and give my input. And they didn't let her do that, or she didn't try to do that even. And I don't understand why they didn't do it that way, rather than having her wait and then just show up when she wasn't supposed to even show up. Because that's kind of a cop-out. It's not really being the powerful person she's supposed to be, in the whole scheme of things. She's sneaking around behind everybody's backs and then being like, I'm powerful. Well, not necessarily. Not when you do it like that. That's my feeling.
I mean, yeah, she should have just like came in and sat at the table. Be like, all right, what? I didn't know this stuff. You're right. Maybe they wouldn't have taken to that very well, but
Oh, well, no, they wouldn't have, but seeing as how her dad is kind of a pushover, it'd be smart of her to be as strong as she could, as soon as she could, so that regardless of how he's behaving, they know that when she takes over, she's going to take control, and it's going to be handled. You know what I mean?
I mean that kind of gets to the point that I wanted to make about it is, yeah, her father's a pushover when it's things that like about things that would actually like he needs to be pushed over about, or except for when it's things he needs to be pushed over about. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say.
Like going to war?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I get what they're doing with him, but like, I feel like he, in this second episode, based on this one episode, doesn't necessarily make the right choices or the smartest choices. Although I get like the choices he's making, but he could at least be like, here's why, like, hey man, I know you're gonna be super offended by this. I'm sorry, but I don't want to marry your daughter because she's a small
12.
child.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that chick right there isn't. Sorry, daughter. I've been talking to your friend.
I would argue they were
Right.
both small children, really. I mean,
Well,
maybe
yeah.
not small, but they were both not old enough for him.
Well, they're definitely not his age. No, the other one's like teenager, but she's not
Like
like.
15, 16, isn't that what they are? Like
Yeah,
16?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But she's not like learning her ABCs.
Right, right.
You know?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that awkward walk where they're just like
Oh,
she's just
man,
like
yeah.
asking her like a kid asking questions.
Uh-huh.
And then just like reciting the thing that she's supposed to say.
I like that scene. I mean, it's super creepy, but I like that scene though because I like how he handled it. He's just like, okay, did your dad tell you to say it? What'd your mom say? And he's just like, yeah, okay. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was surprised that the scene right after that, or maybe it was during that even, between the aunt and then the girl that was going to become the queen, that they didn't talk about that a little more. When she had an opportunity to be like, you're doing this with your daughter, and you're okay with that? You know, she's like 10, and you're trying to marry her off to some freaking like 40-year-old?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that's just not unheard of because
Well, I'm sure
everybody's
it's not,
like,
but it's weird.
it's weird, but it's a king's duty.
Yeah. But she doesn't have to have a baby until she's 14, right?
Right.
So the name was Rhaenyra, not Rhaenyra.
It's Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. So
The daughter of dragons.
it's close. It's close.
Can I
She's not the mother. She's the daughter of dragons.
Can I inject just a little bit of melaniness? I just want to share with the rest of the world that in the past, kings and queens actually did get married really young, but for the rest of society, most people didn't get married till their 20s, so it wasn't normal to marry a child in the past, unless you were a king or queen. Just saying.
That's melaniness. That's fine. I didn't assume it was commonplace to like,
Right.
even for, amongst common folk to marry off their single-digit children.
Sometimes people say stuff like that, like in the will in the past, which if you were 13, you'd be married with 2 kids by now. No, you wouldn't, not unless you
right.
were, and actually you probably wouldn't even have kids, but might be married if you were like a royalty or someone high in status, just to cement like whatever political things there were. But yeah,
Because you were worth more money,
right,
or cows, or land, or whatever.
all of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm worth 400 chickens.
Money and cow. Yeah, chickens. More chickens, more problems. I don't know why. That.
It was funny though.
But they give her a Daenerys like. She's a. What was the word we come up for? She's a tough guy moment,
Oh yeah.
a Daenerys like tough guy moment with the whole dragon and the bridge and all that.
That was a great scene. I will.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff like, I mean, I don't necessarily want it to be pandering with stuff like that all the time, but that is, I think, a contributor to this episode, and actually like getting into like more of the Game of Thrones people scrapping for power thing. Now that we've at least had one episode and we kind of know where everybody stands, it does feel more Game of Thronesy. It is like, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm getting into it, and it had the proper theme song, so
Yeah.
Right.
the
The casting is solid. I mean, like I think
Right.
everybody in this is pretty good at acting.
right.
Weird.
Yeah.
What is today? Next one's Sunday. Maybe that's what it is. You're like, they actually like. I wasn't sure about the show, but I'm actually kind of looking for like waiting for the next episode.
Yeah,
like,
it's
where's this
it's
gonna
appointment viewing. Yeah.
Go? Yep. So far, they've definitely accomplished that. I think. Like I said at the beginning of this, I feel like after the reception that the last season got, continuing with what is no doubt a super expensive series probably seemed like a gamble to more than a few executives at different points in times. But yeah, cool.
Well, one of the things about the first series that I remember and that I thought was really interesting was most of the books that he wrote. I mean, obviously the zombies and stuff were exaggerated, but most of it was based on actual human history. Like I think it was the War of the Roses that was the like centerpiece of all of it, and so you can go back and look at stuff like the Red Wedding. Not exactly, but the Red Wedding did happen. Something like it, similar
Like there's
in our
inspiration
history.
in yeah.
Right. So, it's stuff that we already know happened. Or, I mean, I don't know that it all is, but when it's based on things that happened in life and people gossiped about it long enough that we're still talking about it, it's a pretty good bet that people will be interested and talk about it.
Are we gonna get more faceless men? I feel like that's where the Game of Thrones series dropped the ball. I wanted to know about the faceless men assassins more. I guess they
Yeah, me
managed to
too.
kind of still keep it somewhat mysterious while like
they made it kind of lame, really, at the end. I mean,
Right.
for how easily, what's her name, like Arya,
Yeah.
for as easily as Arya took him down, it should have been like way, way, way harder for her to do that. But I guess they were kind of dwindling at the time anyway, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Well, I want to see them at their peak performance.
Yeah.
When they might even had a face.
Ooh.
No, they
A faceless. I'm
have
gonna
no
stop
faces.
talking.
They have all the faces.
They have all the faces.
A girl has no face.
See that? I want more of that. That was ridiculous but fun.
It was.
With the crab, I mean, like whatever's going on with the crab guy, that's some cool imagery and awful too.
Yeah, grotesque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating
Crabs
people out
creep
there.
me out, man. Ugh. Especially, I read a thing once about Amelia Earhart,
Did she?
and it's scary. Crabs are scary. I'll just say that. Or wait, what are they called? Coconut crabs. Have you ever seen a coconut crab?
I don't think so.
They're terrifying. They're like huge. They're like a dog.
Well, you know what they tell you about in every like staff and let's work together meeting is about how crabs will you know, they like some animals will like help each other out of the bucket, but like crabs won't. They will like,
Oh, really?
oh, you're about to get out of the bucket, I'm gonna break your leg. You know, like
Crazy.
you're not getting out of this bucket. We'll all die in here together.
That's
The
weird.
crabs are like not cool. Don't be a crab.
Addictive.
Yeah.
They re-evolve more than any other species, also. Or at least their method of walking sideways.
This is the macra, and the macra can live down in the bottom of a carpool lane forever and ever. See, I just brought it to Doctor Who again.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of, no, I actually don't have a Doctor Who thing.
Well, I mean, Matt Smith, like he
Oh, yeah.
you were right. He makes a great villain. Like,
He does.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Does it not make you think like he should always be a villain, as good as he is at it?
oh man, well, especially like nobility. You know, like that's why he's so
Right.
good as the you know, the prince in The Crown. You know, it's just like when that one guy when there's the reveal that is talking to Damon and whatnot, and they're he's trying to get him to be like a co-conspirator and whatnot. And he's like, I can talk about my brother the king however I want. That doesn't mean you get to.
Right. Right.
Whoa.
Yeah, we get more of his personality in this, and it's interesting. I do kind of like him a little bit more because like his whole like thing with the egg and like clearly his girlfriend or whatever wasn't keyed into any of that and
Right.
was not thrilled about it. It didn't really pan out, and he's just like, it almost seemed like he's like, yeah, okay, I tried. I'm sure like
Yeah.
he hadn't give up, but he did kind of seem like he's just like, okay, whatever. That's done now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least he was like, I'm not gonna kill my niece, which is makes him, you know, a halfway decent guy in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, the
Or
first
at least not
episode's-
today, you know, like
Right.
it's going to take
True.
more than this. And it was a jerk move.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think he knew. It was like he was getting his digs in too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like going by the first episode where they're very friendly to each other, she's like the only person that could have went down there and resolved it because, like, they clearly like each other.
Yeah. It's kind of weird though, because I don't know. It just maybe that's the whole thing, is just to play on like weird, strange stuff between families or something. But can you imagine having to be like, I hope my uncle doesn't murder me when I go down here? You know, it's just strange.
The whole thing is like bizarre interactions, you know, like then there's the hand of the king's daughter that he's specifically sending to his
Right.
bed
Creepy.
Setting that
basically
up.
his bed chambers, like going to his chambers at night and
Yeah.
playing with his models.
Well, even worse, it almost seems like if he wasn't using her as a pawn in his game, he'd probably keep her for himself, which is super creepy.
There is some super weird tension between those two.
Yeah,
Not the
I don't
king,
like it.
the daughter.
That whole
and
thing makes
the
me feel
hand or
icky.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there's weird tension there. The king, they portray the king as such a kind of likable guy.
Right.
That's why I say like nothing good is gonna happen.
Oh
this
yeah,
guy.
yeah. No, I mean it's like you liked Ned Stark, and you know how well that went.
And he
Yeah.
didn't last very long at all either.
He's like the most likable character, so he was
Yeah.
doomed.
Yeah, Ned Stark. Ned Stark really didn't deserve anything bad that happened to him at all. This person, I mean, at least I can be mad at him for his wife. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room, you know. But he's too soft too. He's too soft to be a king.
Right. Yeah, that's true. He's not necessarily a good person, but
Right.
I understand though, because, you know, childbirth is hard and hard decisions happen. So whatever.
right. We don't need to talk about that scene. That scene was terrible.
That scene. Oh,
It's so unpleasant.
It
Brutal.
was. It was.
Hey, DC is only green. I don't know how to get out of Game of House.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
flying, rust infections. So DC has only greenlit one movie after the WB Discovery merger. A headline I seen, and this is a headline I seen. It was not an article I read, and I don't even remember where it was from. So this might not be legitimate news. By the way, don't ever come here for legitimate news. But
right.
I'd seen something.
Go to
about,
Twitter.
Basically, like after the merger, after they bought whatever Warner Brothers, part of the reason they started scrapping movies and stuff is because they like only had enough money to like theatrically release 2 movies a year or something like that. Like they didn't have enough money to release the movies that were being made. And so that's why stuff like, even though Batgirl was going straight to streaming, that became just a tax write-off. So that's why they started.
Yuck.
That's what I hear.
But
Well,
then
I mean,
again-
it's known that Batgirl was kind of a tax write-off, but
Oh.
what were you gonna say, Melanie?
I suppose if you are in a power, I should say, in the world today, you're one of a handful, and if you don't assert dominance right away, somebody else is going to swallow you real soon. And that's weird, but I'm sure that's how they all feel. Except Disney, because Disney will swallow them all.
You're right. But Discovery's probably just like, just wait for that Disney money. Come on, make the offer, make the offer.
Yeah, we'll sell.
Right.
We'll sell.
Right?
Oh man.
And their mascot's a mouse. It's so small.
Yet so large.
Yeah. You
Takes
see
over
those
the
ears.
house.
Those ears are way bigger than the rest of the world.
They hear everything.
Yeah, you're right.
Mouse hears everything.
Everything.
Wait, isn't Westworld owned by Disney? Oh no, that's
No. That's one of it.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
Discovery, yeah.
Well, now it's Discovery. Yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery or whatever. We just can't have nice things because
Right.
I was surprised to see, and again, we've talked about it on the show. Like HBO Max, I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out, and like it doesn't have, it feels like as much stuff as like a Netflix or something, but it has. The things that I watch on there are super quality. Like it's very good. And it quickly got like the reputation of being like the best streaming service, which I was kind of surprised by. But everybody's like, yeah, HBO Max is great. It's got great shows. But of course, that like how short-lived was that? Like the whole thing, like all the scrapped animation stuff and just how this whole thing's gone down. It's just a real bad look for the new amalgamation that is Warner Brothers Discovery. But that one movie that they've greenlit, one DC movie, I should say. Do you know what it is?
The Flash.
Oh no, that's already happened. This would be a movie that's
That hasn't happened, but will happen.
hasn't happened, but it's got green light.
Blue Beetle.
No,
No, not even Blue Beetle, huh?
It's an interesting pick. It's a movie I'd heard that was a possibility, but now that I hear it's actually happening, I'm like, why? Joker, Folie à Deux.
Oh, right.
The Joker sequel.
The sequel, yeah.
First off, why is that a thing?
Wait, a sequel to what?
Joker, the live action movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That totally should not be anything that should
No.
be remade. Not at
That's
all.
why I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
What the what? Because
It wasn't.
Had you
made
heard
to
the
have a
rumors
sequel.
that it was going to be, that was going to include a Harley Quinn and that it was going to be musical potentially?
no, I hadn't
No.
heard that.
A
Yeah,
musical,
that was
really?
that was a big rumor for a while. I don't know how
But-
true it was, but yeah.
Are they going to have a cameo with Jared Leto?
Oh,
I don't-
God.
I don't. It's
I'm just saying
It
that
will-
this is a bad idea right now. I'll say it now.
it's gonna have Harley Quinn, and I believe Harley Quinn will be played by Lady Gaga.
Right, which is why they were talking about it being musical.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's going to be any good.
Well, no, definitely not. But like Todd Phillips's Joker was such a like. First off, like there's the whole angle of like, well, was it any of it actually? You know, did any of it actually happen?
Right.
And that's why it's like this is not the kind of movie that needs a sequel. Like it's such
Right.
a like
No.
one-off.
Right.
It's a troll of a movie. It is Todd Phillips somehow
Exactly.
getting studio backing to troll everyone with
Yeah.
a Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix.
They're so dumb.
And apparently the troll continues. But according to this article from comingsoon.net, which is where I got the DC only has one whatever story, so far, because I know there was concern about the sequel to the Batman, Matt Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the status of that? And I think Matt Reeves had even talked about being concerned. But apparently right now, it's still like he's
Slated.
still working on this. Yeah, he's still working on the script with the expectation that it will probably get green light. So it's not a done for sure deal, but he's working with Warner Brothers Discovery. Peacemaker's coming back for a second season still. This article says Harley Quinn and the live-action Titans and Doom Patrol are still unclear. However, I don't know about Titans and Doom Patrol. Titans, I don't care about Titans. Doom Patrol, man, don't get rid of Doom Patrol. However,
Yeah.
Harley Quinn, according to Deadline, like yesterday,
Oh, they're going to get rid of Harley Quinn?
no, renewed
Okay.
for season 4. So Harley Quinn is sticking around. Sarah Peters, who I guess has been one of the writers since the first season, is taking over as the showrunner. I don't know. There are two guys that were currently showrunner. I don't know where they're going, but yeah. So Harley Quinn season 4 is happening. I was glad to hear about that, especially with like it wasn't necessarily DC animated stuff, but all the animated stuff getting like Cartoon Network type stuff getting chopped.
Yeah.
Including some people super upset. Like, I don't remember the name of the one show, but there's one where it's like some of the earlier seasons had gotten DVD releases, but the newer seasons hadn't. And now that they're not streaming on HBO Max, they're literally unavailable anywhere.
Oh, wow.
So the creators were pretty upset about that because it got like axed very suddenly, along with a bunch of these shows. And they're like, so the only place you can actually watch this now is to pirate it. They're like, there's nowhere, these just aren't available. You can't get it anywhere. And so they were pretty upset about that.
Isn't this the second time within the last couple of years that WB has had to go through this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, because they'd gotten they bought or merged with AT&T. And I think AT&T, I don't
Right.
know, man, does AT&T just funnel a ton of money into it and then like have to bail for some reason? I don't understand. But yeah, AT&T.
Well, isn't AT&T Comcast? Like,
I'm not sure.
The money at the top is so confusing. It's probably like, I'm going to buy this for myself and get an extra 10% or something like that. And we just don't even know. I don't know.
WB sure gets passed around. Warner Brothers.
ooh. Oh, brothers.
Okay, so Harley Quinn's fine. DC Fandom 2022 canceled. Which, by that headline with all the other news, you're like, oh no. But apparently it's because they're like, well, in-person stuff is happening again. So we're not going to do the virtual thing this year like they have been. Although you think they just keep doing that anyway, because that's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
got
like Nintendo-
you got their attention. You know,
Yeah.
like you created a specific event that everybody was paying attention to. Why would you like lose that platform?
It's like built... Yeah, it's built in.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not free to put that on, but like... That's got to be the cheapest, easiest marketing. It's
Right.
people are waiting.
Right.
Cheaper than what you would have to spend to get your stuff in front of people at San Diego Comic-Con or even New York Comic-Con.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like the video
Right.
game companies, and I think they even started it before all the COVID stuff. But like, what was it? What do they call it? E3 or whatever, the
something.
big
Yeah,
like
yeah.
electronics event. A lot of them figured out at a certain point that it's so much cheaper and more efficient. They're just going to do it virtual. Like Nintendo Direct,
Yeah.
they just do like a live. I don't even think Nintendo does a live stream anymore. They're just like, okay, on this day we're doing Nintendo Direct, and they just drop a bunch of videos,
Well,
and
Right.
it gets like all the same headlines.
I think
without
they have
having-
like press that show up. Like they have press that show up, but the rest of it is all streamed. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, the virtual stuff, then they don't even have to, like, there's none of that, like, renting out space, hiring
Right.
people to do this,
Right.
setting up expensive booths. They just produce some videos, which
Yeah.
are dirt cheap to produce. It's not like they're making movies. They're, like, they got CEOs and stuff just sitting there talking about their products coming up, like, and then
Right.
they drop it online. It's so
Right.
cheap.
But
So
didn't
I'm-
Disney just start releasing their investor calls? Isn't that what that started happening? It was like, we're just going to announce stuff with the quarterly investor calls.
This
Because we're
is
going to
what-
tell them anyways. Might as well.
This is what Disney Day is, right? Or whatever they call it. They're advertising Disney Day as like a thing. Like I've
Right.
seen commercials for it. So they're advertising their big like advertisement day.
Yeah.
So I suspect that they're just like, listen, we're just axed a ton of stuff. We got nothing to show. Like we got
Right,
nothing
yeah.
in the pipeline. We're either putting it on the back burner or we're just writing it all off on taxes. Because that kind of ties into maybe a little bit of a
It would be great if Fandom was just like, this is what you could have had. Just like snippets of all the projects that canceled. Or like a moratorium for the CW shows.
a trailer for Batgirl, and they're like, that's the only footage you'll ever see.
Remember The Flash? We made that last season shorter.
The original trailer had more Michael Keaton Batman. We cut him out.
We cut him out entirely.
You're not going to see him ever. I've seen tweets. People are like, we don't care about the movie. Just release the footage of Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah, right. We just want deleted scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Deleted scenes of a deleted movie.
That's okay. I'm sure there's people that would pay like so much money to see Nicolas Cage in a Superman outfit. We'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
billionaires if we had
So I know some of the stuff with axing
million, not billions.
animated shows. I mean, obviously, like production costs or whatever, but that's not even the case. Is like they're removing older season, like animated series from the service altogether, which is where you get situations where, and I can't remember the name of the show, where creators are like, you can't see our show anywhere. It's not available, and we can't release it. So, is because like they don't want to pay licensing on stuff that's already produced. They don't like in the grand scheme of things, especially for like some animated shows. We're not talking about Friends or The Office. Like, how much is that really save? Like, maybe I'm sure it all adds up. How much is that really saving them? It's weird.
But if they buy the company, do they not own the licenses?
Not. I mean, they still have to pay. It depends on like. Not necessarily, especially like some of those shows might be. Like, I don't know if it's Cartoon Network deal. If Cartoon Network's a separate entity, I have no idea with any of these companies. But if it is, they'd have to pay out licensing to them. But also like to the creators, I'm sure would get a cut of stuff when it's streaming. Ideally, like it'd be whatever deal worked out, and they're just like, we're just not going to stream all this stuff, so we don't have to pay out licensing.
Right.
But that does set up a potentially interesting situation with some of the DC stuff. Because there was a headline the other day. I seen it a couple places, but I don't even know why. But it's basically like here, Batman Caped Crusader, which was going to be a new animated series. That got axed. But apparently there's been super strong interest from multiple other streaming companies. And apparently it's being Warner Brothers Animation is shopping the show around to other streamers. Now this is something I was actually not aware of. But
so is it like a finished product and they're just like, hey, we have this, but we don't want to put it out. Anybody want to buy it from us? Is it like that?
In this case, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's something that maybe like was in pre-production or started, but like I don't think this is necessarily something that's done and they don't want to put out. Batgirl was something similar to that. It was almost done. Like they had done test screenings and stuff already. This is something I didn't know even existed, but it's billed as a more adult animated series focusing on the iconic Batman. Batman Caped Crusader will be led by Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves. So you got Bruce Timm and the guy that did the new Batman movie. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. And so that's got a lot of, apparently, a lot of interest from other streamers. So, I mean, if this leads to maybe Warner Brothers being willing to like farm out some of their DC stuff to other streamers, I mean, we talked a little bit about like I was a little surprised that Sandman was still over on Netflix because it's a DC Warner Brothers property. I'm down with that. Give us a Daredevil style version of some DC characters, Netflix. That'd be cool. I mean, if Netflix has money.
Right.
Right.
It's all falling apart. No, the whole streaming thing's falling apart.
It's a game of cards. It's a House of Throne card dragon.
House of streaming merger fails.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It totally is. So.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Netflix was like a naive knight or something. He's like, I'm famous now. And everybody's like, oh, really? Well.
He's like a Galahad type.
Throw me some more of those gold coins. This will never end. Everyone loves me.
Where will I keep all these gold coins? Why don't you stack them on top of those DVDs you don't mail out anymore?
Right. I wonder how many DVDs they still have out in the wild.
Oh, man.
I swear my mom probably still has a couple sitting in her
I'm
house.
sure. And
she was on that
don't care, I'm
subscription
sure.
forever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they called it something else. Like, my mom was on it for a while, too.
Yeah, they switched the names to, like, separate it.
Or DVD Hub, or I mean, it was like a super vanilla name too. It was like, wow, they didn't even want to be associated with it anymore. But it was still a Netflix company, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, no, it totally was. They just tried to change the name, but it's like, dude, that's. I remember when it was real shaky that you guys were trying some weird streaming thing. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, Netflix is. I don't know. I mean, part of it is I guess you don't get to be where Netflix is, where all the other like studios are like, or other like whatever companies are like, oh hey, we want some of that, without like kind of going wild and spending a ton of money.
Speaking of that, Movie Pass.
Back from the dead.
Yeah. And like there's this part of me that's like, you know, because I was on Movie Pass, so they're sending out the emails that are like, get on the waiting list, the waiting list is closing, and I'm like, there's this part of me that's like, man, that was a good idea, and like it worked for a whole week or something.
Right.
So
But
so like part of me is like, if it worked the way they ever intended it to, I think I would get back on that list. And you know, like now is the time for Movie Pass to try this again,
Yeah,
because the movie industry needs people to go back to the theaters.
You're right.
And they need a reason to do that. So now is the time when Movie Pass could maybe strike these bargains and be like, listen, we can get people back, but you're going to have to cut us a deal. You're going to have to play ball.
Movie Pass
Yeah.
was a great idea, and it's not because of the idea, but it's just it failed so spectacularly, and it was handled like so kind of badly. When I first seen that, I was like, "Whoa, you're gambling! You're gambling! You're
Right.
gonna jump back on that train." But like then again, it was a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. In fact, AMC tried to steal it, you know, with
Yep.
their Stubs program. And then, you know, the pandemic happened, and I don't think anybody cares about the Stubs program all that much now. But, like, the thing that was cool about Movie Pass was that you could basically use it anywhere, because it was like a debit card for those people that didn't
Right.
know or didn't use
Right.
it. It was like all you had to do was choose your movie on the app, and then it would preload your debit card so that you could buy the ticket.
It's basically a subscription service so that you could go to X amount of movies almost anywhere each
Yeah.
month. And you wouldn't have to pay, like, it works out to, of course, be cheaper for you than actually
Right.
paying full ticket price,
If you go
ideally,
enough.
If you use it, yeah.
if you use it. Yes.
So it's like,
And that was
if
the
you-
problem at the end, is like I couldn't use it because they started blacklisting certain movies and whatnot. It was like,
Right.
you could only go to this movie. Is this one's available? Oh, it's not available anymore.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it was. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so shady.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
man.
the server wouldn't always load, and it's like you had to get the approval, and then you would have to buy. Then you could buy the ticket, but you had to do it within like a certain time window. And it worked slick when it worked, but half the time the server was down, and I'd be at the theater. I'm like, this freaking thing, I can't get. It won't approve my ticket. You know.
And I feel like it was a deal where the people running Movie Pass did not handle it particularly well. AMC and the bigger chains were actively hostile towards it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, of course, tried to steal it themselves. You're right, though. It is the time for it to come back, because they're like, so who got knocked down a couple pegs these last few years?
yeah.
huh?
Oh, it'd be a real shame if if somebody was to maybe offer you an opportunity here, you could maybe have people coming through your doors, whatnot, but you're gonna have to grease some palms. I scratch your back, you scratch ours. We bring the people. You give us a movie for free.
Oh, Mr. Too Big to Fail. How's it going
Oh,
these
Mr.
days?
Too Big to Fail. Oh, how many theaters did you close, AMC?
Oh, my God.
You want to play ball now?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Oh, did we say the silent part out loud?
Got a bad habit of doing that these days. Interesting. Yes. Yeah. Man, business.
Yeah,
Entertainment business.
Man, corporations be crazy. They're people too.
We can laugh because they own everything.
They own everything.
Yeah, they do.
It's amazing how they own everything.
It is. I mean,
Wonder what else is amazing.
Oh, you want to know? So there's been some new research that developed a
Hey,
method.
Hey, will
What?
you pull your microphone back towards you a little bit?
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. What's this amazing research?
They developed a method to strip oxygen from water to yield a large amount of hydrogen using aluminum nanoparticles, which we've used aluminum before, but the biggest improvement over previous methods is that they removed one of the biggest barriers to hydrogen fuel production, which is the large amount of power that's used. And they did that by mixing aluminum and gallium in a 3-to-1 composite that can be used at room temperature and also will work on any type of water. So ocean water, sewage, it doesn't matter. It'll work. And then, so what it does, and it's way more efficient than anything else either. The gallium removes the oxide from the oxygen from the aluminum coating, from the aluminum coating, and when it does that, it separates the nanoparticles, keeping them from aggregating into larger particles. So not only does it switch, but it switches faster. So it strips the oxygen out of the aluminum and the water, and it does it faster than it would happen if it was just the one thing. So that's awesome. And gallium is expensive, but it can be recovered and then like reused over and over and over again. So they don't really need that much to make it commercially viable. It'll just be slightly slower that way, but still. Yeah, so that's super exciting, especially if we can freaking get, nuclear fusion to work. That'd be awesome, because that's what we need is hydrogen, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But tell me, what about coal miner jobs?
It's clean,
Cold
beautiful
miner?
coal.
Coal miner, not cold miner.
They
might
just
be
need
cold.
coats.
They just need coats.
And birds.
Yeah, canaries and coats.
Mm-hmm.
Clean coal. Clean it up. They polish that coal.
Oh,
it's so beautiful.
Yeah. They just rake the coal floor. That's what they do. Prevents coal fires.
Just took me to a time.
Maybe
And
that's
I
what they
didn't
should
like
do.
it.
They should just put like some little chimneys over the coal fires that have been burning for hundreds of years, and then use that.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. And then get Dick Van Dyke up there and just sweep that chimney out so that we don't have any danger.
Chim chiroo.
These would be beautiful,
Mother foo.
clean coal chimneys.
Mm-hmm.
True.
The cleanest coal you ever saw.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
clean.
I want to find the crystal that they used to make that movie and then become a millionaire from that.
Yeah, I too am fascinated by this. We talked about it a while back on Grawlix. It's something we'd heard on a Corridor Crew channel on YouTube, I think. But basically, like, the camera they used to shoot some of the green screen stuff for Mary Poppins, because like the compositing, it's like during like the live action with animation stuff, where specifically I think where they're like against animated backgrounds, like the compositing is like flawless, and it's because they use this camera with this crazy rare crystal or something that separated the colors, like the red, green, blue type, the color spectrum in a way that made it easy to like composite, like, but it separated them like perfectly.
Wow.
And apparently that's the only camera that's ever like
Ever
it's a
existed for that
one-time
purpose.
thing, like a one.
Wow. Leave it to Disney to pull that. Like,
Yeah.
we invented
Yeah.
a camera for one thing.
They were like, well, normally you would have to do this and this and this and this, but since this camera had this special crystal, you didn't have to do any of it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So we got Dick Van Dyke dancing with the crocodile. It's
And,
cool.
Because of the crystal, like you can't, like, it's the only one that's ever, it's the only time that it's like just the one existed, and apparently people, they don't know what happened to it. It like
Yeah.
kind of
Was
They
it
don't pay attention
penguins?
to
Was it tap dancing penguins that
They
Dick Van
stole
Dyke
it.
was like
Could have been.
dancing with penguins with a crystal camera?
I think so.
Yep. That's never mind.
I'm fascinated by technology that uses crystals. It seems so weird to me,
Yeah.
even though like that is in fact like early tech. That's what it is. It's like weird early tech, but at the same time seems like fantasy story stuff.
Look like Gelfling.
Yeah.
Right. But when I heard that like Game Boys, like they use crystals to synchronize, like people that do like game chip
yeah.
tunes and stuff, they use crystals to synchronize Game Boys. I'm like, what?
Game Boys, radios, watches, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild to me, but whatever. I think it's just, I mean, everything we make is basically like, what do we got? We got some rocks. We got some,
You got some magic rocks that will make this thing talk to this thing? Great.
what's that
Yeah.
goo over there? Let's mix that up, make some circuit boards or
Look,
something.
let's put some blue gunk on your teeth. You got Bluetooth. There you go. It's magic, kids. Get your magic blue teeth sets.
I think that was supposed to be actually based on some historical figure, Bluetooth.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
so.
The
Yeah.
name, yeah.
Well, even the symbol is like a rune.
Uh huh. Yeah.
It's worse than 5G.
Yeah.
Randy, I saved something I'm gonna have to make you watch later. It's a video, a music video, and it was based on some ancient Nordic
Aliens.
runes that they found, and runes and like cave drawings, and then they made this whole song based on it, and it's very interesting. I think you'll appreciate it.
Cool. Have you guys ever seen Halloween 3 Season of the Witch?
Yes.
Yeah, a long time ago, but yeah.
Because I don't think I'd seen it many times, and I don't think I'd ever really like thought that hard about the story until years ago. Now, Jasper and I did a GCU, and we covered it.
Mm-hmm.
And that story is bonkers because it's about using ancient runes and Stonehenge and witchcraft and ancient humanoid robots, like. And I'm sorry, just what we were talking about remind me of that, and just how like ape that whole like concept is. It's
Oh, yeah.
insane. I feel
It's
like it
probably not
needs
as-
a deep dive someday.
I don't think it's as crazy as you think it is. I mean, like, there's a lot more than we realize that's based on Norse mythology in our everyday lives. Like, the days of the week, I believe, are based on Norse mythology. Like,
Did they have robots?
huh?
Did they have robots?
I'm not sure. But I know, like... Stop. But, like,
sorry.
Thursday is Thor's Day, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
It is.
And what's Odin's Day? It might be Wednesday. Why? I think Wednesday turned into
Oh, yeah,
Odin's
that
Day turned
sounds
into
right.
Wednesday and stuff. You know, stuff like that. There's just things we don't even realize or come from some other ancient thing for some reason.
That makes me. That reminds me. There's a line in this most recent She-Hulk that's so good because there's like this court case going on with like a shape-shifting light elf from New Asgard, and her lawyer just starts in on like, the Asgard isn't really a place, it's a people, and the judge is like, I'm sorry, but Thor's inspirational speeches are not admissible in court.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I have to check it out. We'll have to check it out. We'll have to figure out who's got a Disney Plus account.
Right.
I don't remember whose we used to use. That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Hey, go listen to my album. It's still out. It's still new. Superscience.xyz. Go there. Go there.
Yep.
I'm getting nice views on YouTube and some nice comments, and I appreciate that. It's very nice. And it makes up for the lack of streams on the music platforms. Jesse, you got anything you want to mention? You got anything coming up? Anything exciting?
Nothing really. But if you guys like the show, check us out on Patreon. So This is patreon.com/Grawlix podcast.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
In another 7 years, we'll
So
get it all
good.
down. We'll figure.
Oh
this
yeah,
out.
yeah. I mean, because then we'll be
8
owned
years.
by Discovery, Disney Plus. We'll be owned by the Hulus. It'd be a real shame if you didn't patronize all of them
Right.
for only $1. All the pizza owned by everybody. It's everybody's pizza. We hate communism, but everybody owns this pizza.
That's right. That's right. This is fun fact, not fun fact, pointless fact. I was debating this episode was almost going to be a Patreon only stream, just because I was like, it's been a while since we just sat and like talked to Jesse. I was like, maybe we could just do like a Patreon stream, because at this point, no one would see it.
Oh,
We could
right,
just
yeah.
like have a natural conversation, but I mean that's like what we do anyway.
Right.
And I was asking Melanie, and she's like, "Well, is anybody going to be there?" I'm like, "No, nobody's going to see it." Like,
yeah.
we're down to the
Yeah.
couple of other podcasters that like have been supporting us for years.
Right.
But shout out to Two Headed Nerd and Grind Bin. I love you
Yeah.
guys. The old
OGs. We're
Dude.
talking OG there.
years they've been
Yeah.
patrons. But I was like, no, you're right. We'll just do live stream. Maybe we'll get Paul to drop in, and we did for a moment. So
Yeah.
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 anyway, priority at this point is, listen, is Jesse going to be there? It's worth doing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We want to talk
All
to
right.
Jesse.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, because if you become our listener, we'll probably get in an argument with you at some time, and you'll
Yeah,
get
at some point, Randy will be rude and offend you.
Yeah. Or
Tell
you'll
you to-
start your own podcast and stop listening to ours.
That's right.
or both.
Yeah, or both. Yeah. Yeah. It's
You-
it's odds on, you know.
You'll start your own podcast. Randy will tell you to get effed. That seems to track with mine. To be fair, I've never told Maddie D to get effed. That might be
right.
the only one though.
Yeah.
It's the Grawlix charm.
It's the charm. Listen,
It's our charm.
it's tough love. If you
Yeah.
stick by me after I tell you to get effed,
Yeah. Then
Probably
we're
tell you
probably
again.
going to tell you how bad your favorite thing sucks
Yeah.
on the show. We'll just be like, man, that thing that you love is so bad.
And if you make it past
Never
that,
done that.
then me and you could throw down in a gladiator tournament because
then it's
Yeah.
gonna
That's
get
the-
physical because it's gone too far.
Yeah.
But I'll let you on my podcast network.
Yeah, please.
oh yeah,
Join us.
So I can invent new ways to neglect you.
Yeah.
You know what? Too much truth on this podcast.
We need to end this episode before we tell them more.
Thanks for watching. Get effed.
And subscribe, please. Any more
Subscribe.
patrons.
Got a podcast? Come join the Electronic Media Collective.
Yeah.
I'll add it eventually. Oh, I do have a show of Paul's I need to add. Sorry, Paul. Paul and Maddie D, man. Not only did they start podcasting, they end up with like 3 of them. They
Right.
have like so many
Oh,
series.
yeah. They got more
Yeah.
podcasts than we do now.
Yeah, yep. That's what we inspire.
Yeah.
Greatness. That's why I'm so tough on them.
Yeah.
yep.
This is Game of Thrones love.
That's right. We're going to steal your baby dragon egg and then throw it at you.
Yep.
We're gonna make you marry someone you don't even like when you're 12.
Right. For corporate mergers. I mean, politics.
Is that what if that's how? What if that be? We don't know it. Maybe that's what like.
That's what it's about. It's about the Discovery merger. Yeah. That's what it really is. Like, like Daddy Matt Smith over here is. He sees Discovery and he's like, listen, you all got to change your ways. You're not tough enough.
I just like the phrase, Daddy Matt Smith.
Daddy Matt Smith. Yeah, right.
Oh man.
He's not the king, so you got to call him something.
I don't know that we've gotten the like skulking around like scheming in the shadows character yet, but when we do, it'll be a mouse.
Oh yeah.
It'll be a mouse.
Yeah. Right, with a little finger, but it'll just be a little person and it'll be a little mouse. It's a mouse.
Oh, all right. Listen, don't get effed unless you want to. We love you.
If that's your kink.
Mm.
And when I say effed, I mean fondue.
Yeah.
What else could I possibly mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There are not enough things that are dipped in chocolate and or cheese.
Yeah. I wish it
Exactly.
upon you. It sounds glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Not if it's hot,
is.
though. It is. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take it easy. Have a great weekend. We love you.
Happy Labor Day weekend. It's a Labor Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
man.
It
Yeah,
is.
have an extra day off.
Have an
Yeah,
extra...
and burn everything that's white because I don't know which holiday it is. Just
Burn everything.
Burn all the
white.
Burn all the whites.
No whites after Labor Day.
It feels different when you say it that way.
Man, that's a horror movie ready to happen.
It's a horror movie that'll be very poorly received. I guarantee you that.
Only by the majority.
Labor Day, no whites after Labor Day. You know what? You're right. It'll be poorly received by the majority and warmly received by other people.
Yeah.
That's all
Might
right.
do really well overseas.
That reminds me, there was a movie once, and I never seen it. I think it had John Travolta, and it was called White Man's Burden, and it was
Yep.
basically like, what if like black people, but they were white people?
Right.
And
I bet it
remember-
didn't age well, but like at the time, I remember it's like it's the '90s version of like
Trying to be
giving
woke.
you kind of a Twilight Zone-y fashion kind of deal. And
I get the idea. Okay, having never seen it, if it is what I think it is, I get the idea of like some people just don't understand until they can apply it to themselves, which is
Right.
very true.
Right.
So if that was the idea of like, what if black people accept they're white people
yeah,
and like have to deal with this? But man, I feel like there's not a lot of time periods that whole premise would actually work the way people intend.
right.
I don't think it did that either.
Yeah. No, like the idea was there, but I don't think it was executed well.
No.
From what I remember, I was like, kind of.
White Man's Burden 2, Labor Day. No whites after Labor Day.
White, yes. Oh, that's what we need. A sequel to White Man's Burden.
We are streaming on Twitch. I feel like we're getting real close to violating some Twitch,
Probably.
terms of service. There's
Yeah.
certain things we can't say. I already said one earlier, but it was the name of a show. So,
Dragons? No, I'm sorry.
yes,
It's dragons. Can't talk about that.
Can't talk about dragons.
Not on a service that does a lot of fantasy games.
You're right.
Well, man, Dungeons and Dragons, yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Hey, we'll see
Happy
ya.
Labor Day. Didn't we do